As dawn broke over Manila, the city buzzed with anticipation. This time, the headlines weren't about typhoons or political intrigue, but about a quiet, game-changing announcement from the Department of National Defense. The city's usual morning rhythm was charged with a new sense of purpose, as if everyone sensed that something significant had shifted overnight. The Philippines had secured the MBDA Meteor, a beyond visual range air-to-air missile renowned for its cutting-edge technology and formidable reach. This was not just another addition to the arsenal. It was a symbol of ambition and a statement of intent. For most Filipinos, the name Meteor was unfamiliar, but in global defense circles, its arrival in Southeast Asia was seismic. Analysts and experts immediately recognized the magnitude of this development, understanding that it would send ripples far beyond the archipelago. This wasn't just another purchase. It was a strategic leap forward, signaling a new era for the Philippine military. The deal represented years of negotiation, planning, and a clear vision for the nation's defense future. Online and in military circles, the implications were immediate and far-reaching. Social media buzzed with speculation, while defense forums lit up with analysis and debate about what this meant for the region. The Philippines, long seen as having a weak and outdated air force, now possessed one of the world's most advanced air-to-air weapons. For the first time in decades, Filipino pilots could look to the skies with renewed confidence. The message was clear and unmistakable. The era of being a pushover was over. The nation was ready to stand its ground, and its defenders felt a new sense of pride and responsibility. The U.S. cautiously welcomed the move, recognizing its potential to stabilize the region, while Europe celebrated a major export win and a deepening of strategic ties with Manila. Beijing's silence spoke volumes. Chinese state media issued stern warnings about a potential arms race, hinting at growing unease over the shifting balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. Tensions in the Indo-Pacific spiked overnight as neighboring countries and global powers recalibrated their strategies in response to the Philippines' bold move. For years, the South China Sea was a story of imbalance, a giant and its smaller neighbors, with the Philippines often left to protest with little more than words. The Philippines, with its aging jets and limited resources, could only watch as others asserted dominance. Its air force was often seen as symbolic, rather than a true deterrent. Now, with the Meteor, it had a potent sting, a weapon that could reach far beyond the horizon and change the calculus of any potential adversary. The Meteor bridges a critical gap in defensive capability, giving the Philippines a credible means to defend its skies and assert its sovereignty. This acquisition isn't about aggression, but about establishing credible deterrence. It's a message to the world that the Philippines is ready to defend its interests, but seeks peace through strength. Any adversary now knows, violating Philippine airspace comes at a steep cost. The risks have changed, and so has the nation's resolve. The balance of power had shifted, ushering in a new dawn for Philippine defense and a new chapter in the region's unfolding story. The Philippines, long seen as the underdog in regional security, has just made a move that no one saw coming. For decades, the country's air force was overshadowed by its neighbors, often relying on outdated equipment and limited resources. But now, the game has changed in a dramatic way. Its air force, once flying jets considered relics of the past, is now equipped with a missile that has caught the attention of military analysts worldwide. The Meteor missile, a weapon few expected to see in Southeast Asia, is now part of the Philippine arsenal. Most observers assumed Manila would stick to conventional short-range arms, enough for basic patrols but not for real deterrence. Instead, the arrival of the Meteor signals a bold shift, from simply watching the skies to actively denying them to any intruder. This is a leap from passive defense to a posture of credible, long-range deterrence. The Philippines is no longer just monitoring its territory, it's now prepared to defend it, decisively and from a distance that was previously unimaginable for its forces. For China, which has grown accustomed to operating freely in the region, this new reality changes the strategic equation. Meteor-equipped fighters now create a powerful new bubble of deterrence, extending the reach of the Philippine Air Force far beyond its borders. Any act of aggression could now be met with a lethal response from well beyond the horizon, forcing adversaries to think twice before making a move. This unexpected development forces a regional recalibration, as neighboring countries and rivals alike reassess their strategies. The Philippines has seized the initiative, transforming its image from a position of weakness to one of newfound strength and resolve. The Meteor is a defensive weapon, but its mere presence sends a powerful psychological message to all who might challenge Philippine sovereignty. It plants a seed of doubt in the mind of any potential aggressor, making them question whether the risks are worth it. In the high-stakes environment of the South China Sea, even a moment's hesitation can be a strategic victory. The rules of engagement have changed, and the Philippines has made sure the world is watching. What sets the Meteor apart? Its ramjet engine. Unlike older missiles that lose speed and maneuverability over distance, the Meteor manages its thrust, staying fast and agile to the very end. Its no-escape zone is several times larger than previous missiles. Pilots can engage targets over 100 kilometers away, with a high probability of a kill. Evasive maneuvers that once worked are now futile. For the Philippine Air Force, this is a quantum leap. Even light fighters like the FA-50PH become lethal threats. The missile, not the plane, is now the real equalizer. Smaller air forces can now hold powerful adversaries at risk from afar. The Meteor redefines what it means to defend the skies. Imagine, just a few years ago, the tense atmosphere above the South China Sea. Chinese J-16s would approach a Philippine outpost, their presence a clear show of force, testing the resolve of the defenders below. Filipino pilots would scramble to their jets, engines roaring to life. But their air-to-air missiles lacked the range to challenge the intruders from afar. To engage, they had to get dangerously close, putting themselves at great risk just to defend their own skies. The Chinese pilots, knowing this, flew with confidence, controlling the encounter and dictating the terms of engagement. The result? Usually a diplomatic protest, statements, handshakes and headlines, but little real change in the balance of power. But now, with the arrival of the Meteor missile, the entire scenario flips on its head. PAF fighters can now detect incoming threats much earlier, tracking hostile aircraft long before they get close. With advanced sensors and the Meteor's range, they can lock onto targets from a safe distance, well outside the reach of older missiles. The Chinese jets suddenly find themselves deep inside the Meteor's vast no-escape zone, an area where escape is nearly impossible. Before they even realize the threat, a launch warning flashes in their cockpit, signaling a new and serious danger. The Chinese pilots instantly know this isn't a legacy missile. Their only real option is to retreat and break off the approach. No shots are fired, but the behavior in the sky changes dramatically. The balance of power has shifted. Now, deterrence is achieved by presence alone. The Meteor's reputation and reach speak louder than any warning. Philippine airspace is no longer just a line on a map. It's a hard, red line that cannot be crossed without consequence. The Meteor's extended reach also shields Philippine naval and Coast Guard vessels, providing a protective umbrella over the sea. Hostile aircraft must now think twice before even considering a threat to Philippine assets. Knowing the risks have multiplied. The rules of the sky have shifted, from risky close encounters to calculated standoffs, where deterrence and technology now set the boundaries. The Meteor's arrival caps a long journey for the Philippine Air Force. For nearly a decade, the PAF had no fighter jets, just trainers and helicopters. Internal security took priority, leaving air defense neglected. The turning point came with the 2012 Modernization Act, spurred by tensions with China. The FA-50PH jets from South Korea marked the first step back. But a platform is only as good as its weapons. Early armaments were modest, enough for basic defense, not deterrence. The Meteor transforms the FA-50PH into a true air defense asset. The PAF has gone from no air defense to one of the world's most lethal systems. The era of vulnerability is over. The Meteor's impact goes beyond hardware. It changes mindsets. Filipinos, once resigned to helplessness, now see a symbol of strength. PAF pilots, once outclassed, now fly with confidence. This psychological edge is crucial in air combat. The Meteor levels the playing field in both technology and morale. Confidence spreads to the Navy and Coast Guard, fostering national pride. The Philippines is no longer a passive observer, it's an active defender. This shift boosts its regional standing and diplomatic leverage. A nation that can defend itself commands respect. The Meteor is as much a diplomatic tool as a weapon. The country's voice is now amplified on the world stage. The Meteor's arrival ripples across the Indo-Pacific. For the US, it means a stronger, more capable ally. The burden of regional security is now more balanced. Ties with Europe deepen as the Philippines diversifies its defense partners. This move draws European interest into the South China Sea's stability. Southeast Asian neighbors watch closely. It sets a new precedent. Medium powers can now acquire game-changing tech. Some fear an arms race. Others see a necessary rebalancing. For China, the Meteor complicates military planning and raises the stakes. The balance of power is less lopsided, forcing more cautious interactions. The region enters a new, more stable, if tense, equilibrium. The Meteor is no magic bullet. It's just one part of a complex defense system. The cost is high, not just for the missile, but for the supporting ecosystem. The PAF needs advanced radar, early warning aircraft, and continuous training. Pilots and crews must master new tactics for beyond visual range combat. Maintenance and logistics are critical. Spare parts, software, and expertise must be sustained. Deep partnerships with European manufacturers are essential. The Meteor's promise depends on integration into a well-funded, well-manned system. The challenge is ongoing, but it's the challenge of a nation growing stronger. True security is built, not bought. The Meteor story is about more than technology. It's about national resolve. It proves smaller nations can defend their sovereignty with the right tools and will. The missile is a declaration. The Philippines' territorial rights are not negotiable. This marks a turning point, from protest to protection. With new power comes responsibility to act with restraint and defend, not provoke. The Philippines is now a more respected regional player and security partner. The challenges ahead are real, but they are the burdens of strength. The Meteor's roar, if ever needed, will echo the nation's resolve. It's a message. The Philippines is standing watch, capable, and unafraid. This is the new reality in the skies over the South China Sea.